Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Backpacking for Beginners. Today we're going to go through backpacking essentials. I know I kind of explained in the last episode what the big three were. Now we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into what else you're going to be taking when you go backpacking and some things that you may want to avoid. So we're just going to jump right into it. A lot of people ask, me generally, how do you get water on the trail? How do you filter water? I mean, do you just drink it? Well, the answer is you really never want to trust a water source, no matter how clear or clean that it looks. So, one of the first things you should be looking for in your gear pickup is a water filter. Now, I have used several different iterations of water filters over the years. But right now, one of my favorites is this Katahdin Bee Free. And this is what that looks like. They come in a couple different variations. I think a half liter, 1 liter. There might even be a larger one. Not entirely sure right now. I usually buy this 1 liter. Now, this 1 liter soft bag is going to come with an inline filter. So the filter screws into the top of that bag, and it's going to have a spout on it just like a water bottle does. So you basically fill this bag with your dirty water, and then when you squeeze it out the top into another water bottle, you're going to get completely filtered water. And it's as simple as that. The reason I like the Katahdin is because there are a handful of trusted water filter brands out there. Katahdin is an absolutely trusted brand, and these are right now running right around $50 for whatever you see here. You're also you need to really do a back flush on these filters as you're using them. On this one, I literally just fill this body of the bag with clean water, and then I kind of shake it around to back flush the filter. Probably not the best way to do it. That's what I do. These replacement filters, you don't have to throw the bag out, but the replacement filters, right around $26 to buy. And it's just a simple system. I also really like this because I can, well, I've got air in it now, but I can smash this down, and put it in the side pocket of my pack. And I can just get water out of a stream or a river or whatever at any point in time while I'm backpacking, fill this guy up, and drink it right from this device. No harm, no foul. So it just kind of makes life, for me, it makes life a little bit simpler. I really like simplicity when I'm backpacking, and so traditionally, in fact, I'll show you guys. So traditionally, I would be using I've got this Knock Vecto bag. I've had it for a really long time. As you can see, it's really dirty. And this bag is a 2 liter water bag. And it has a port on the bottom of it where you can screw on. I just put a Sawyer squeeze on it, which is another very trusted water filter. But a Sawyer squeeze goes on the bottom of this. So it's like a 2-part system you have to put together. And then you slide the top off of this bag, okay? And it's got like a really big, wide opening, which a lot of people like, so that you can scoop water basically out of anything into this bag. I still use this from time to time. It really depends on what I'm doing, and that's why I still have it. And it is still, as many trips as are on this device, it is still very functional, and it's a great option. It's kind of nice to have a 2 liter with you in the event that you're maybe going to have longer distances in between water. So you always want to think about that. I always carry, generally on my person, 2 1 liter clean water bottles plus this. So full capacity on trail, I could have 3 liters of water. Now, if I had this system with me and I had a squeeze that went on this, then potentially I could have 4 liters of water if I needed it. I find that I do not need that much water most of the time. Hence the reason I started using the simpler system. So that's water filtration, and that's kind of a personal preference that's going to go along with how you guys want to utilize it. But I would suggest looking at systems like the Knockfecto and attaching a Sawyer squeeze or another screw type filter to it, or the Katahdin Be Free is a great system to start out with as a beginner. There's just no way to really mess it up. It's a great filter, and it's going to prove to provide you zero issues using it, really regardless of where you're backpacking. The next thing we're going to talk about is something I also get another question about, because people love to know how we go to the bathroom in the woods. How do you go to the bathroom in the woods? Yeah. Well, this is one of those leave no trace principles. If you haven't heard that yet, the basic emphasis of leave no trace is that nobody knows you were there. So you pack out what you bring in. When it comes to going to the bathroom, and especially when you're doing a number 2, or there's toilet paper involved for you ladies, I have got this, yeah, it's pretty old. So this one is, I think it's a 0 gram. It's something I got off of Amazon, I believe, several years ago. So it is a little 0 gram trowel. You can see it's kind of dirty because I've used it. But you want to have a little trowel like this. Now, there is a lot of different ones out there now, like the Vargo Dig Dig, the Deuce of Spades. You can find a lot of trowels out there. And that kind of is going to correlate into where you're going to. This is a smooth edge little trowel. It's not really particularly sharp. It is good enough for most places I go, because you are going to dig a 6-inch cat hole to do your business in, and then bury it post-business doing, so that nobody knows you were there. In my poop kit, I also have a roll of this biodegradable, and you can find this on Amazon. You can find it in camp stores, all kinds of places, but it is a biodegradable toilet paper, and it comes without a like cardboard center in it that you would typically see, but that's what it looks like. It's just a little roll of toilet paper. And to be honest with you, I am kind of moving away from this, but this was the setup for a very long time. And I have not taken this actually with me for quite a long time, because I opt for something like these, which are large biodegradable wet wipes. And I got these off Amazon. It said they are biodegradable, so they're going to break down the same way that a piece of biodegradable toilet paper will, but they're wet wipes, so they kind of provide a little bit more level of clean. And another thing that you want to think about when you are doing these things is these are multi-use, where the biodegradable toilet paper, it just isn't. So with these, I can use them to wipe my face off, to clean my hands off, to go to the bathroom. It doesn't matter. These have multiple uses where you're not going to get much out of these. They're not going to do much for you as far, I mean, these fall apart pretty quick, pretty basic, pretty outdated, but it's cheap. So I'm going to toss that off to the side, because like I said, I don't really take that anymore. This primarily is what I take. Now, if you are the type of person that doesn't want to go that route, there are several backpacking bidets available. And if you're not familiar with that, you can find those on sites like Light AF or Garage Grown Gear. And what it is, and what some people have a problem with it, is a device that goes in the end of your water bottle to make your water bottle spray out like a bidet. I think there is some like mental problems with people using the water that they drink to clean their butt. So that's what I have heard a lot. It is something I think I'm going to give a try this year, because it does remove yet another product from my backpack, and they're very small items. In fact, I'm hoping to do a video soon. I'm gonna try to get a few of them and just see how they work and how much they cost. But that's my poop kit in a nutshell. The main thing that you want to concern yourself with is a trowel. And like I said, this is just an ultralight smooth edge trowel. There's nothing fancy about this thing. It's very light. You can actually get a little bit larger trowel than this without increasing the weight. If you go with something like the Vargo Dig Dig or the Deuce of Spades, and they will actually have a little bit more aggressive edging on them. If you're gonna be somewhere that's got a more rocky type of soil, something you're gonna have to dig through, maybe even cut a root every now and then, you need to think about all those things, because you do not want to be in a situation when you have to go to the bathroom that you are in a hurry to dig a hole. You need to think ahead on that, because it is a whole process. It is not like going to the bathroom in a regular residential bathroom. And we will try to take even a more deep dive into that later on. But you can imagine the problems that can arise if you are not prepared for such a thing. Moving on into smaller items, yet just as important, a backpacking stove. And I recently put up a video where I talked about all the backpacking stoves I have and why. I like to have a hot meal every day that I'm on the trail, whether it's something I'm whipping up that I've made, or if I am reheating a dehydrated meal, which is an option as well. But a stove for me is absolutely necessary to take on trail. And I also like to have coffee in the morning. So you will see me with this backpacking stove. And I will also take, and this is a new one actually to my collection. There's a little dust on it there. I will also take a backpacking mug. And I really like these GSI. This is the GSI Infinity backpacking mug. And I'll show it to you. It's still got the wrapper on it, actually. And I really like these because this has a little insulated sleeve on it, so it keeps my coffee warm longer in the morning. And you can pull the container out of the little insulator, and if you'll look at it, it's got a measuring cup with it, which I think is really cool, because if you take dehydrated meals with you on the trail, they are going to have a specific amount of water that you will need to boil and add to them, and this makes that a lot easier. Even though some of these backpacking pots, like this soda pot I have in my hand, have markers on them on the sides and on the insides of them, it is nice to have another measuring cup when you're out on trail. And you can also, there's a couple other things you can do with this that are pretty cool. And it's got a really nice lid on it. It weighs, a lot of people would say it's not worth the weight to take this mug. I totally think it's worth the weight. It's a little under 4 ounces. You're not even gonna notice it in your pack. So I take a coffee mug with me. That's one of my things I have to have. And that's basically how that works. My backpacking stove, you can refer back to the stove shootout where I explain all the rest of my stoves, but this stove is, it is a Soto pot, which I switched to recently and really like, because it's got this really nice plastic lid that locks onto the top of it that you can, if you're making coffee on the trailer, you can pour your hot water out of it. It also comes with a nice little grab handle instead of having the handles attached to the side of the pot where they're going to rattle around all day while I'm walking. So this pot has been really cool. Really enjoy this. It weighs next to nothing. It's titanium. Then I have the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe is the stove I am carrying right now. And I went through several iterations of stoves, including the ever popular BSR Ultralight stove. And I landed on this one because, I decided to really upgrade my cook system. And this stove is really efficient. It works flawlessly. It's, like I said, it's efficient, it's fast. It's got this nice all metal construction piezo igniter on it, so I don't have to have a lighter readily available when I want to cook. MSR is just well known for making top-notch products, and as you can see, it is a very nice backpacking stove, and it is the newest one in my ridiculously large arsenal of backpacking stoves. So that is the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe that I have paired with the Soto 700 milliliter ultralight pot. That's my cook setup. So now with my cook setup and my mug or whatever, The next question I often get is food. Hold that thought. Alrighty. Oh, so food. Where do I put all this stuff? All the stuff I just showed you, plus my food, go into this Hilltop Packs food bag. This bag is made out of Dyneema, and as you see, it's got my name printed on the bag because they do custom printing on their food bags. Why is a food bag important? This food bag is designed to snap closed, and then you're going to roll the top here, and we're going to spin it around, mate these two buckles together, and it has this little small carabiner on it. Why do you ask? When this is full of your food, and I also have a bag, like a Ziploc bag, gallon Ziploc bag inside this that's gonna have like my waste in it from food wrappers, whatever trash that I have after I'm done eating goes in here as well. And it all gets hung up by a rope from a tree or whatever else at night, and that keeps critters from getting into your food. And so that's really important. And Hilltop Packs makes some really cool food bags that you can buy, and I think I've got 3 of them now, and they're just really great Dyneema bags, so they're ultra light. Me holding this bag here, it weighs virtually nothing, and some of them I have are pretty old from when Hilltop Packs first started getting popular, and I've just really always enjoyed them. They're fairly cheap to get, and you can get them on Hilltop Packs website. But it's important to think about what's going to go into this bag. So anything that you are going to have food-wise needs to stay in here. If you have a dirty mug that had hot chocolate in it, it needs to go in here. If you have packages from food that are trash, they need to be in a Ziploc bag or something separated and in here. Anything that an animal can smell can go in here, be strung up from this carabiner from a branch of a tree off the ground, and that's going to keep your food safe, and that's going to keep animals from getting into your shelter. Because if this is sitting in your shelter full of food that a mouse can smell, you will eventually have a hole in your tent where a mouse has tried to get at this food. And that's what we want to try to avoid. So it's best just to hang it up outside of your shelter, away from your shelter, from a piece of rope or whatever you take with you. Paracord is a popular option. Whatever you need to hang this up with, get it off the ground and out of your shelter. So that's my food bag. Hilltop Packs is where you can get that. There's tons of other options out there on the internet if you want to look at other food bags, but I just tend to really like what I get from Hilltop Packs. All right, so we talked about water, we talked about cooking our food, we talked about taking a poop in the woods. What else do we need to cover? Personal hygiene, I get asked that a lot. So I'm gonna pull out some of my most favorite backpacking personal hygiene and personal care items that I take along on the trail in an effort to take care of myself while I'm backpacking. Whoa. All right. Didn't expect that to go flinging out of my bag. Okay, in real short order here, I've got some little like ditty, they call them your ditty bags. That's where your ditties go. I don't know what a ditty is. That's what they call it. So I've got a couple of these little ditty bags. These are actually from a company. I got them quite a long time ago, actually. I've got a couple little bags like this from Equinox, and their website is very easy to find, equinox.com. And they make a lot of cool little nylon products, little bags like that. There's all number of things on that site that are pretty neat. But that's that. Moving on. Here is a really important one I get asked a lot. This is a backpacking toothbrush. Now, I can't remember whether I got this from Light AF or I got it from GarageGrownGear.com. Either one of those sites, you can find little toothbrushes like this. It's just a little plastic toothbrush. You can see how short it is. It's got a little cover on it. It's very lightweight, and it's very easy to hold and brush your teeth with. I see a lot of people buy a toothbrush at the store and like hack the handle off or whatever, and you can do that too, but this is virtually the same cost to get one that's designed to backpack with. And I have really, honestly enjoyed having this. I've had it for quite some time now, and then I just take a little thing of toothpaste, a little travel thing of toothpaste. I know some people even try to reduce this more, and you can. You could squeeze part of this out into an even smaller container. You can buy some little squeeze containers on Garage Grown Gear, on Light AF. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I just take the whole tube. It's no big deal to me. I don't really get into the nitty gritty of counting ounces, but that's my toothbrush kit. I always take this, and I did get this off one of those sites. Actually, I think this came from Light AF. And this is a very small ounce spray bottle, as you can see, and it fits just about anywhere, but it is full of bug spray. Bug spray is something I don't use all the time, but in different times of the year, when the flies and mosquitoes, all that stuff starts to get a little bit unbearable, this stuff can be really handy to have during the day and at night at camp, so I always take this with me. It is very small weight to have with you all the time, so it's virtually something that stays in this bag all the time, because why not? You know, you just never know when you're going to have a bug problem. Oh, man. Next up is this. I've kind of got a little squeeze container here. Again, I think this came from Light AF, and it's a very small container that I put some biodegradable camp soap in. And as you can see, it's pretty small. It's more than enough soap for any trip, really. I use this for washing my hands. Sometimes I wash my cook pot, wash my mug with it, whatever. You can do dishes with it. You can wash yourself with it. It's virtually a do-all kind of one-stop soap. And I forget the brand of it, but everybody's seen it. It's this green camp soap. It works really great. It's not going to hurt anything. If you rinse your hands off in a stream or something, it's completely biodegradable, no harmful chemicals or all that. So I keep that with me all the time, and then I keep a little tube of these Porta wipes. Now these things are really cool because they are actually they're a little pill-shaped dehydrated wipe, and all you have to do is add water to these and they will blow up into a full-size wipe. So basically, with this little bitty tube that goes in that bag, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wipes. 10 wet wipes I can use whenever I want. And if you're thinking about what I said earlier about the biodegradable wipes, let's see, there are 15 biodegradable wipes in here. There are 10 wipes in here. So the answer to what you're thinking is yes, I have used these for my poop kit before. But the whole thing with this is you do have to get them wet with your water bottle before they blow up. They're very cool little product. I always take these with me now since I found them, and they come in a really large bag, and I think you get like 2 or 3 of these little tubes with it to put them in. And you could also segregate them into a small Ziploc bag or something like that. But these things are pretty neat. They're really great to have anywhere, in your car, whatever. They blow out pretty big into a pretty big wipe, and they're pretty resilient and tough. They don't tear very easily. So Porta wipes, you can find them on Amazon. I don't know what other sites they're on. That's where I got them from. And these things are cool. Into my little things. And this is basically my medical kit, if per se, because I find that I really don't need much past this. I do take a handful of Band-Aids, which generally I don't use at all. However, I always like to have just a little bit extra in my pack in case I come across somebody who needs something of this nature and they don't have it. So I usually keep 3 or 4 decent sized Band-Aids. I prefer to use Leco tape, which I have a small amount wrapped around this little pin body I cut in half, because Leco tape comes in a big roll. You can get it on Amazon. This stuff is amazing. It is almost like a thick Band-Aid feeling type of material, but it is absolutely proficient at putting over blisters or hot spots on your feet, which you will probably get your first few times backpacking until you get a regiment down with your feet. So these are absolutely essential for blister care. I use them like a Band-Aid. If I cut my finger, Leco tape. If I scratch myself or something and it needs to be covered and clean or whatever, Leco tape. This stuff will basically not come off your body until you pull it off. This is very, very adhesive. So it will keep dirt and muck and nasty stuff out of any kind of an injury or a blister that's open, doesn't matter. This stuff is great. I take it everywhere. It is my primary bandage medical care type of situation on any trail. And like I said, it's available on Amazon. Just type in Leco tape in the description, and you're going to want to do something like this because it does come in a fairly large roll that you are not going to want to take, because I think I still have the same roll that I bought in like 2017. So you get a lot of it for your money, and it's going to last you a long time. The other couple of things that I take are these. I've got these little, and I think I got these offline too, off Amazon or something. I've had them a very long time. But these little fingernail clippers, I just find that these are like a super useful tool to have. You want to really make sure you stay on top of your toenails, because your toenails can tear your feet up super quick if they are super long or unmaintained when you are walking, and they can very easily and very quickly cause you some problems. So I take this for my toenails. These are also just good cutters. You can cut a lot of little things with a pair of toenail clippers. And they also have a nice little file that kicks out the side of them. You never know if you're going to have a nail that's getting on your nerve that you want to file down or something. I'm really terrible at biting my fingernails off, and so I have these with me all the time so that maybe I could, get out of that habit. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, little bitty pair of fingernail clippers. I wish I could tell you really the name of the model of these, but I don't know. I've had this particular set for a very long time, so I don't even remember where they came from. You can also find these at Walmart, CVS, different department stores. Pretty easy to find. Then I've got a pair of tweezers. Now these are really small, like stainless tweezers, and they come to a very fine point. And these are important because some of the things that they can do, you could possibly do with your fingernails. The big one when it comes to these things, man, is splinters. And if you're out in the woods and you're messing with firewood and sticks and stuff, you're going to get a splinter. All right, so the last thing I have for you guys is one that I get asked a lot too, and that is, how much fuel do I need to take on my backpacking trip? Well, that's a loaded answer, but I'm going to tell you how to get there by figuring out how much your stove burns generally by cooking one meal. What I want you to do is, I've got this 100-gram fuel tank. This is generally what people are going to carry. It is a 100 grams fuel blend. This one is a Old Camp or whatever. You're going to see these in MSR and all kinds of different brands. But the 100-gram size is what is on all of these stoves. So based on that, if you take a brand new 100-gram fuel can and put it on a food scale, and you're going to want to weigh this in grams. So weigh this fuel canister when it's full. Then attach your stove to it, put your pot on it, and boil 1 to 2 cups of water. When you're finished, take it all back apart again, and try to do this as efficiently as you would do it on trail. When you're done, weigh the canister again, exactly the same way you weighed it the first time, and that will tell you how many grams of fuel you used to boil that water. That will give you an idea based on the total weight of this fuel can about how many times you can do that with 1 can of fuel. And that's how you will arrive at how much fuel you will need to take for your backpacking trip. For an entire 4 to 5 days of backpacking, I usually do not go through an entire can of fuel, just to let you know about how much. And I'm making coffee and I'm making hot meals, so I'm boiling anywhere from 2 to 4 cups of water a day. So 1 fuel can gets me by. Maybe that answers your question, but it's best to go ahead and check based on your equipment on how much fuel you are going to use per cook session. All right, that's a big list of essentials to go through and to think about for yourself. And if you want to follow along with more of these beginner backpacking episodes, please remember to subscribe, like these videos. If there's something you want me to cover specifically, put it down in the comments and I will get to it. Next week, we're going to be coming back to this series to talk about the big 3 again in depth. So I've explained them all once in a video. Now we are going to do them individually. We're going to talk about shelters, and we are going to talk about sleep systems, and then we are going to talk about backpacks. So hope to see you guys then. And until next time, see ya.